We're back with another episode of Chattin with Staxx. My guest is Anthony Luciano Ramundi.
Oh, you were asking about how, if you become a made guy or whatever. First of all, you have to be in a crew. They see how loyal you are. You got to be an earner, number one. Not give them any problems or any trouble. And then once they feel your time is right, they'll ask you if you want to be a friend over here. And depending on what your answer is, if you say yes, then whoever is your rabbi will put you up for proposal with the family. If nobody in the family disagrees, if they all say okay, then each family will know. They'll go to the next family, the next. Everybody says, yeah, we got no problem with this guy. We don't even know him. We got no problem, so on and so forth. If somebody in the family or somebody does say no, they're going to want to know why. And you better be able to show proof of why you don't want this guy being made, not because you don't like him. Or maybe because years ago he put your cousin in the hospital or something like that. You got to have definite proof he did something really wrong. But outside of that, they say no. And the vote goes in, they say, all right. But you're never told when you're going to get it, when you're going to get straightened out. Then let's say your captain will come to you or your lieutenant, whoever. What are you doing tonight? I don't know. He says, you know what? Come on, let's go out tonight. Let's have some dinner. Let's have some drinks. All right. Get dressed up. We get dressed up. He comes to the car and picks you up. It's like somebody else is driving. He's in the car. He says, come on, get in the back. We got to talk. And they'll just start talking about, say, like, the business, like how's the shuck business going, how's the numbers and this and that and whatever. You'll pull up to a place, whether it's a restaurant, a social club, or, someplace like that, and they'll say, we got to stop in here. Like if it's a restaurant, they'll say, come on, we're going in here for dinner. You'll walk in, and let's say most of them have a private room. He goes, come on, we're going to eat in the back. You'll walk into the private room in the back. You open up the door and you'll see a table with all the guy skippers and all the captains and the boss sitting there. Once you see that, you know something's up. It's either you're going to get straightened out or you're going to get killed, one or the other.
Yeah.
When you walk in. If it's like, if it's a social club, he'll say, come on, we got to stop in here. We got to see somebody. You'll walk, hey, what's doing? Says, come on, we got to go talk in the back. And then you see him, you'll see the same setup. The table with the guys and everybody sitting there. And the guy who proposes you basically is the guy who brings you there. And then, they ask you a couple of questions, and once the ceremony's done, and everything's straightened out, and that's it. You belong. It's very simple. It's not no big elaborate thing. It's very simple.
Somebody has a problem with you, can't just say, I don't like this guy, and then not straighten him out.
You gotta show proof of why you don't like him. What did he do wrong? Like, if it was like for argument's sake, like I said, let's say 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you kicked the shit out of his brother, let's say, and put his brother in the hospital.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with it. There was a beef between this guy and your brother. Your brother lost the fight. He won the fight. That's it. What did he do wrong? It's got to be something that he done wrong, that somebody stepped up for him and says, and they squashed it. And I said, okay, well, he's got this strike against him. Without that, they can't do nothing. Without that, you become a friend.
So then basically, once you get your button, if anyone puts their hands on you or like in a threatening manner,
they're in trouble.
Yeah.
You don't raise your hands to another friend. You got a beef with another friend, you go to your guy, you go to your skipper, they get in touch with his, they sit down and you resolve it. You put your hands on a made guy, and you even though you're a made guy, you put your hands on a made guy, you got a problem. You got a big problem.
Yeah.
Normally, the way they would settle the problem, they'd whack the guy. Because that's an unwritten law. You don't. It's a thing. You do not put your hands on a made guy. You never do that.
But there's been a lot of situations where that's happened. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I remember one thing though. Now, if you get into an argument with another made guy and he puts his hands on you and starts hitting you, then you do whatever you got to do. If you got to kill him, then you kill him, or you put him in the hospital or whatever. It's a different story.
Yeah.
But you never pick up your hands first. Let him pick up his hands first. And then if he does, then you do what you have to do.
Yeah, I get it.
Like you had a thing on The Sopranos where, I don't know if you remember the episode where Christopher is mad with Tony because he's fucking his girlfriend and he pulls the gun on him. Let me tell you something. In real life, Christopher would have died that night. They wouldn't have said, "Oh, you're the boss's nephew," and you're. You pull a gun and draw down on the boss, you die. Automatic, you die. There's no questions asked over here. You die right there on the spot if they get their hands on you.
Yeah.
They let him walk away. Like, nah, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because even if the boss turned around and said, "No, leave him alone," all the captains get together and they say, they all are ruined. No, he's got to go. He pulled the gun on you. He could do it to me, this one. And if the boss still gives you a problem, then just bring it to the commission. And the commission will sign the death warrant right then and there that day. All they got to do is hear, he pulled the gun on the boss. The boss says not to touch him. But he broke our rule. Take him out. And he goes.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the boss says. What the commission says goes.
If the boss turns around and tells you not to touch him, even though he pulled the gun out, and you bring it to, you start going, and you go to the other families, and you want to bring this to the commission will turn around and side with you and say, he goes. There's no question. He goes. He's got to go. He pulled the gun out. That's against our law. You don't pull the gun out. And besides, guys don't carry guns like you've seen in The Sopranos. The guys Christopher's carrying a gun all day long. Come on, let's be fucking serious, please.
Yeah. You get picked for a gun, you're gonna do like 3 years. You get
picked up at any time for whatever. You're gonna carry a loaded gun on you all the time. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Do you have any situations you can explain, like when made men were putting their hands on each other and they had beefs?
Oh, there's quite a few. There's quite a few. There's quite a few incidences that happened. It happened with. There's a story with me and Eddie Lino. I had a piece of an after-hour club on 5th Avenue or 57th Street in Brooklyn. The place was called the Green Isle Inn. It was a bar. And at nighttime, they pulled the license in. This is one of the stories I was going to tell you anyway. And they used to pull the license in at 4 a.m, and we had after hours. The guy that had it was a guy named Jimmy Boyle. He was a very dear friend of mine. We grew up together. And when his father came here from Ireland, they opened up the place, and me and Jimmy met on the street. We became friends. I knew his father, Phil. I knew his mother, Sarah. His brother Michael, knew the whole family. When the father started running after hours, father calls me over. He says, "Andy, I want to see you." "Yeah, what?" I said, "Phil, what's up?" He says, "Listen," he goes, "I'm going to start running after hours here." He goes, "My son has a lot of friends. He had a lot of friends in the Colombo family, Jimmy." He says, but when he calls them, it takes him 2 or 3 days to come down. I said, "Yeah, I know that. I just, I'm over there." He says, "Listen, you're here every weekend for after hours." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Come in and make you a partner over here with my son. If he's got a beef, he comes to you." It's all right. It's no problem. Jimmy was happy with it because me and him were like this. We were like brothers. We were like this. I mean, we done everything. I mean, me and him did shit together. Like, that's another story altogether. But we done some crazy fucking shit, me and him. So I'm in the club. And, you always get these wannabe fucking kids that come in. And one night, there was a bunch of kids. They came, and I say they were in their 20s. Come in. They were from Avenue U. Thought who the fuck they were. "Yeah, we're going to do this. We ain't paying. We don't pay." Told the kids, "Hey, listen." I said, "You're going to pay." "Oh, well, fuck you." I said, "I'm Anthony Cigars. This is my fucking joint." I said, "You got to pay." Kid turns around and says, "I don't give a fuck you're a maid or not." He goes, "I'm around Frankie Lino." He says, "And I'll break your fucking leg." I said, "Break my leg." I said, "You better choose your fucking words carefully again and answer me again." He goes, "Well, I'm going to break your leg right now." And he picks up his hand. I busted this kid up and I broke his both legs. Broke his both legs in the club. They gave me the nickname in the club. They called me the leg breaker. I swear to God, it's my nickname in the club. I fucked this kid up so bad. Next day, my cousin Johnny Dell calls me. And Johnny Del Duca, he was with the Genovese people, and he had a big club on Avenue U. He goes, "What happened last night with this kid, Kevin?" I said, "This is what happened." He goes, "Well, he's with Frank." I said, "I don't give a fuck he's with Frankie Lino or not. This kid threatened to break my fucking legs. So I broke his fucking legs." Now, Frankie was a captain, so I had to sit down with him, and he was all such a fucking pissed off and everything. And my cousin Mac was there, and Alley Boy was there. And Alley Boy turned around and told him, he says, "Listen to me." He goes, "Anthony's over." He goes, "Anthony's a friend. This kid isn't." He walks into Anthony's place, starts in, goes to put his hands. He goes, "Anthony did what he's supposed to do." He goes, and Ali said, he goes, "If it was me personally, I would have made him fucking disappear."
Yeah.
Frankie wasn't thrilled. End of story. Goes. Okay. About 4 months later, guy walks in, well dressed, nice guy. You know, the diamond ring, the whole fucking 9 yards. Order him drinks. Says, can I get a bill? You know, can I get a tab for the night? You know, I'll pay you. Yeah, go ahead, give it to him. So a couple of other guys. At the end of the night, my bartender gives him the bill. Guy tears it up. And I see him. I don't pay for a fucking thing here. I don't this, I don't that. I'm a fucking maid guy. I'm going to be a fucking captain soon. And on and on and on. I said, excuse me. I said, listen to me. I says, I was nice enough to give you the tab. I said, this is my place. I said, I'm a friend also. I said, I'm with the Colombo family. He goes, well, I'm with the fucking Gambino family. I said, it's fine with me.
Aren't
You're
they
a
supposed
friend.
to introduce you to each other, though? Someone's supposed to introduce
But
you.
we didn't. We didn't introduce each other. This came
Yeah.
like when he wouldn't pay the tab.
Yeah.
I didn't know the guy. What the extra tab? Yeah, go ahead. So let him go. I don't bother with guys unless they come over to me. That's the way I always done it.
Yeah.
He's going on and on and on, and he's yelling. I said, you're going to pay the tab. We got into an argument, and he goes like this, and he pokes me like this in the chest, like this with his finger. I said, do yourself a favor. I said, don't fucking touch me. He goes, you can't fucking touch me. I'm a maid guy. I said, you're forgetting what I told you. I said, I'm a friend also. Don't fucking touch me. He turns around, he smacks me in the face. That was it. I hit this guy so fucking hard that I fractured my fucking pinky. That's how hard I hit him. I cracked his fucking jaw. I gave this guy a beating in the place. I said, well, I kicked this guy. I fractured his ribs. I fractured his jaw. I broke his leg, which I was known for doing that, which I learned a long time. Break a guy's leg is the easiest fucking thing to do. By the time I got done with this guy, they had to take him out in an ambulance.
Yeah.
Now I get a call from my cousin Johnny Dell the next day again. Because Johnny was on Avenue U and Frankie Lino's Avenue. He goes, who beat up Eddie Lino? I said, what are you talking about? And he told me, I says, I did. I said, that's Eddie Lino? That's Frankie's cousin or whatever? Yeah, Frankie's cousin. He says, yeah. I said, let me tell you, so he put his fucking hands on me. P.S. Bunch of people got together that were in there, and they says he put his hands on him. So Frankie Lino wanted a big sit down on Avenue U in my cousin Johnny's place. It's okay. We're going to go. Fuck him. I ain't worried about him. This fucking cocksucker put his hands on me. Now, my cousin Johnny had a place on Avenue U just below McDonald Avenue.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, something don't sit right with me with Frankie Lino. He said, what are you doing? I said, there's something with Frankie I never did like. I got Mikey the Bear that time, and I got my friend Eddie. I said, listen, I said, I want you to stay outside the club. Make sure he's both packing. Anybody walks in that fucking club, you go in behind him. I'll put the gun right to their fucking head. If you got to kill him, kill him. Says, okay. So now we walk into the club, and I'm packing. I got a gun on me. I'm packing a gun on me, and my cousin Mac was with me. He had a gun. We walk in, and there's Alley Boy Persico there. Because we went into the place. It was Alley Boy, me, and my cousin Mac. Frankie Lino walks in, and he's got two guys with him. And he sits down. It's okay. And I'm looking at the two guys. And I had two other guys in the club. I had over there. And I'm just looking at him. I had Little Vincent, who's one of the guys I had in the club, in the back of the club. And and I had Tommy T, they called him. Because Tommy Terrible, they call him, but we call him Tommy T in the club. I says, anything you see doesn't look right. I says, just take the guns out, do what you want to fucking do. I'm sitting down with Frankie Lino, and we're talking, and he's yelling and fucking screaming, and I'm trying to tell him, Frankie didn't want to hear nothing. I said, let me tell you something. I said, can I talk now? And Alley Boy's sitting there, my cousin Mac, they're sitting there, and they're looking at me. They're waiting for me to explode. I said, can I talk now? I said, first of all, he put his fucking hands on me, and you got all people over there. And I am not going to let him put his fucking hands on me and hurt me or try to hurt me. So I busted him up. I said, you're lucky that's all I did. So I'm talking to him. The two guys that were with him, they went in the back, and they come out. When they came out, Tommy T and Little Vincent went up behind them and put the guns behind their fucking head. These two guys were ready to pull two guns out and shoot.
Yeah.
Frankie Lino set us up. I turned around. I says, And I looked, because when I turned around, it's in my book. I got the story in my book.
Yeah.
When I turned around, I seen them with the guns, and I seen the two guys over there, and they took the guns out of them. I said, Frankie, as you trying to whack us in the club, it was in my cousin Johnny's club. My cousin Johnny blew a fucking fit. He says, you coming to my fucking club? You're trying to kill my cousins in here? He goes, who the fuck you think? One thing led to another. I says, listen, everybody calm down. I says, I said, Frankie, I want you to listen to something. You heard click, I pulled the hammer back on the 45. I said, you know what that is? He looked and he froze. I said, that's a 45. I got it aimed right at your fucking stomach. I'll blow a fucking hole in you. I'll cut you in half, you cocksucker. As I'm talking to him, who comes in? Mikey the Bear and Eddie with two guys. They were walking in. They had guns in their hands, walking into the club, coming in behind us. They came up behind them. As you try to fucking whack us, I says, no problem here. I said, keep him here. The two guys with the guns that took the guns from them, we beat them so we left them in the street all full of fucking blood. The other two guys that he had, one guy tried to run, somebody shot him. The other guy was running all over the club until they got a name on, popped, and then they popped him and dragged them all outside to all four guys on the corner of McDonald Avenue and Avenue U. Says,
what year was this?
That was, let me think. I'll tell you right now, 1970, it was 79 when I was made. I was already made in 79.
Yeah.
So I popped him. Then, no, wait, no, I'm sorry, forgive me. It was later than 79. I think it was either 79 or 80, because a lot of things happened in between those 2 years. With me, I did a lot of other shit also.
Yeah.
We got him out, and then there was a meeting that we got called into with the commission. And the commission, they turned around, they told Frankie. Now, Frankie was with the Bonanno family. They turned around and told him, it's up to him what you want to do. So I said, it's up to me. They told me it was up to me. Ali and them said, it's up to you. You want him dead, he's dead. He's gone. I said, no. I said, let him live. I said, but let him understand. You fuck with me again, this time I'll fucking take him out. Commission did it. And they said, you go. This guy, you cross his path again, he's got our permission to do whatever he wants to you. If he sees you crossing in front of his car and he wants to run you over, he's got the okay from us to run you over.
Yeah.
Now, he tried to fucking put a hit on us. Meanwhile, his cousin got whacked a couple of years after that. They found him on the side of the Bell Parkway. They found him in his car, Eddie Lino, with about 9 bullets in him.
Yeah, in the trunk, right?
When they blamed on the cops. They said those cops killed him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He come into my joint thinking who the fuck he was. All of a sudden, he was going to be a captain. He started getting a bigger head, a more swelled head than what he had. I said, no, it's totally out of the question.
Yeah, that was when Eddie Caracappa pulled him over. And
yeah, the two cops that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. The Linos all had a bad attitude about them. They always had a bad, because Frankie Lino, his son was he was a mad junkie. They sent him away. He came back. And I had a club on East 15th Street between Avenue L and Locust Avenue in Brooklyn called the Rich Man Poor Man Club. I was a partner there. I got that in 1979. I got that. Now this is about 1980. I'm in there, and Grace Ann Lino and Louisa, they were sisters. They were Frankie's daughters. I think they were his daughters or they were his nieces. I don't, because there was Frankie, Eddie. There was Frankie Lino, Eddie Lino, and there was another one of them fucking running around somewhere. And I walked in and I had the pinball machines. Remember the old pinball machines I used to play?
Yeah.
Kids sitting up on top of the pinball machine. I walked in. Oh, get off the fucking machine. No. I looked at him. I said, here we go. I said, another fucking tough guy. Meanwhile, I got the club full of people. I said, get off the machine. You're going to break the friggin' glass. You want to sit down? I'll give you a chair. Fuck you. I says, you know what? Maybe he's drunk. I'll give him one more shot. I said, listen, this place is mine. Get off the machine. I own the machine. Fuck you, fuck your machine. I do what I want. My family runs the neighborhood. That's it. I grabbed him by his fucking ankles. I pulled him off the machine. Bang! He hit the floor like a fucking torpedo. He went on the fucking floor. I just let loose on this kid. As soon as he hit I started kicking him. I jumped on top, punched the shit out of him. That's it. Drag him outside. Turns out it was Frankie Lino's kid.
Oh God.
Go back to another sit down. Your son came into my joint. This is what happened. He made a big stink about it. He made a lot of stinks on me, but he couldn't win on nothing. Meanwhile, the kid, I think he wound up ODing years later. He wound up ODing, just like his nieces. Mostly everybody, they were always against drugs. They said that anybody who did drugs that was around them, they wanted to kill them. But yet they were selling the drugs, and their family was hooked on all the fucking drugs.
Yeah.
Grace Ann was, Louisa was, Frankie Lino's kid was. They were all doing drugs and selling drugs. But if you was around the Linos and you did drugs, all you had to die. But meanwhile, Lino had his own people selling fucking drugs. So go figure that one out. Then I heard Frankie went to the witness protection. Then I heard he left. I heard about what, 4 years ago? Something like that. 3, 4 years ago, this guy Marco was telling me that somebody said they seen Frankie Lino crossing Father Capodanno Boulevard in Staten Island. I said, so if he's complaining the guy was making a stink about it, I said, then he should have fucking ran him over if he was so fucking worried.
Why is he out?
This is what Marco told me. The guy told him he's seen Frankie Lino walking across Father Capodanno Boulevard. I mean, it could be true. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
I know, like I said, Wild Bill's son is back in town because he wrote that he says, I'm back in New York, which the kid came back. You got Michael's back, Michael Francis, he's all over the place. Yeah, Sammy the Bull's all over the place. I mean, these guys are back. I mean, like I said, nobody's going to really do too much to them, these new guys. These new guys don't even know them, and they never bothered with these new guys.
Yeah.
But they always know. If somebody goes after one of them and you get him, that's fine. But sooner or later, the guy who did the work is probably going to rat on all he is. Same thing over again.
It's all full of treachery.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Now, I want to tell you a thing about my father, which is in my book. When my father was 16 years old, I'll give you a little background on my father. I told you, my grandma and grandfather had the building on Columbia Street with Trophy's Bakery. Downstairs, my grandfather had a barber shop. My father, like I said, even when he was a kid, he was quiet. My father got into a fight with a kid on Columbia Street, and the kid went to pull a gun out on my father. My father beat this kid fucking unmercifully. He beat him so bad, the kid was like on the floor. He didn't move. Tom DeBella was there. Tom DeBella was a big boss in our family, in the Colombos. And Tom DeBella seen my father, and he knew that who he was. He was my grandfather's son. He says, Frankie, you all right? He says, yeah. He says, Frankie, pick up the gun. Oh, my father picked up the gun. He said, I want you to carry this gun. He goes, this kid comes back to you. He says, kill him. Tom DeBella told my father. And my father started packing the gun. About maybe 2 weeks later, my father's walking on Columbia Street, and Tom DeBella is walking with Uncle Iggy Leone. Or the Leones was another big shot. They're walking, and two guys come running across the street this way behind them. They push my father to the ground. My father falls down. My father sees they pulled out guns. My father had the gun on them. He shot the two of them in the back. He killed the two of them.
And they were coming to kill the other guy.
They were coming to kill Tom DeBella and Uncle Iggy Leone. They were coming to kill one of them, but being the other guys with him, the other guys got to go.
Yeah.
Tom DeBella, I was told, and Uncle Iggy, they jumped on the floor. They seen my father there with the gun. They got my father, sent him right upstate New York. Boom. Everything got quieted down. They brought my father back. After that, my grandmother said my father was like, if he got into a fight, he would just keep on going until somebody pulled him off of you.
Yeah.
Then my Uncle Joe, my father's older brother, he went into the army to prevent his other brothers from going in. But I think Uncle Joe was in maybe, a year, somewhere around there, maybe somewhere along the line. And they drafted my father. My father went. And my father went in. My Uncle Sal didn't go. My Uncle Nino didn't go. They were spared. And that's what I told you. My grandma said when my father came home, he was never the same when he came home.
Yeah.
To him, life and death, my father was the same thing. It didn't make a difference. Didn't make a difference. You live today, you die today. You live tomorrow, you die tomorrow. It didn't make a difference to my father one way or the other. But this is the way my father was. Right? He was the quietest guy you'd ever wanted to meet, though, my old man.
Did he ever go to prison?
Nope.
No.
Nope. He was pulled in for a lot of things. Pulled in and questioned, but they couldn't pin nothing on him. They couldn't pin anything on him. They pulled him in I remember that boy. They pulled him in for a lot. They pulled him in. I was told I was just a baby at the time when Albert Anastasia got clipped, and they pulled him in for that. They had no proof that he did it. Joe Gallo, they pulled him in. Oh, God knows how many fucking times they pulled him in for that. Of course, Sonny Pinto was the guy who made the call. And then I forgot the guy he called, Sonny Pinto. But then they called my father, and my father was outside the place. Guy went in, two guys went in the place. Like I said, they couldn't hit the fucking broadside of a fucking barn. They were shooting the fucking place up. Joe ran outside, and my father was there. And the story, it's all she wrote. And then
So,
with Hoffa, the
so,
story goes that,
so you're saying that your dad killed Joe Gallo?
yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have been seeing the Irishman, and there's a lot of controversy if the
That
movie's
guy's
real or
full of
not.
shit. He took from my father's life.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of things that I'm telling you, I found out my father was on his deathbed 2-3 days before he died. So, so let's put it this way. What am I going to do? My father's dying. I'm going to go report him. He's dying. He's got 2-3 days left.
Yeah.
It's a big fucking deal. Same thing with the Irishman. My father knew Tony Pro and all them very well. My father did a lot of work with the people out in Jersey. And the way the story goes, they pulled my father in on questioning on what's his name, Jimmy Hoffa, because the story was told that my father was one of the main guys who made him disappear. Oh, my father, but they never could put anything on my father. They couldn't prove nothing on my father. Like I said, whatever my father done, he was very good at what he done.
Yeah.
And most of the time, my father would go alone. He would go alone, do what he had to do, and he comes home. Most of the time.
Both of your grandfathers were in the Black Hand too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them were there.
So that's how how he got connected with all of them? Through your grandfather?
Well, yeah, I remember my uncles were all connected too. His brothers. They were all connected down to Piers and everything.
Yeah.
Because you had only down to Piers, you had Scotto's down to Pier, you had Tony Anastasia was at the pier, and Tony Anastasia's brother Albert was the one who got killed in the barber. He was with the Genovese family.
Yeah,
he was in the Genovese family when he got it, and Tony was in the Gambino family. Tony was a boss in the Gambino family. But this is, like I said, this is what my this is what my old man done. There's no big deal. To him, it was a job.
So were you around Wild Bill a lot?
No, I've seen. All right, what happened with Wild Bill? Wild Bill used to be with a guy named Joe Lane. He used to come around, Bill. I never called him Wild Bill. I always called him Billy, or I used to call him. A couple of times I called him Billy Fingers, and he got pissed at me. He wanted to fucking hit me.
Yeah.
But he didn't. Maybe because I knew him like that. But he used to be around Joe Lane, and then they straightened him out. And then he was in the Cumbles, and he would come down to 3rd Avenue, Carroll Street. He had the place on 11th Avenue we used to go there. And I used to run into him all the time. And then he used to come to Coney Island Avenue to this guy that was with him, this guy Al. He had a pizzeria on Coney Island Avenue off of Avenue H. And we'd see Billy over there. And Billy was always good. I never had a problem with Billy. But like I said, there was a there was a hit that was put on Billy because he was going to he used to go to Bruno's haircutter. It was on, I think it's 20th to 21st Avenue. It's on between 85th and 86th Street. And like I told you yesterday, the way the story went, there was Anthony Russo in there, kid Anthony D'Agostino, and this kid Eric, who was supposedly the lookout. He was around Teddy Persico, Sr. And there was a guy sitting in the back of the car, like I told you.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him a machine gun, which the machine guns were outlawed. But all of a sudden, everybody broke the fucking rules. All right. They handed the guy a pair of work gloves. I mean, who the fuck wears work gloves? So the guy threw him back, like I told you, and put on the leather gloves. And like, make a long story short, Billy never showed up because he knew somebody was waiting there for him. Next day, the guy who was sitting in the car gets a call that Billy wants to see him. There was a truce call because the war was going on. So the guy goes with his cousin. He goes to see Billy. And Billy tells him, we've been friends a long time. I took this side. You took that side. Okay, you're right. That's the way it went. Okay. He goes, I'm just going to put a little information to your head. He goes, I know you were on 20. I know you were between 86th Street and Benson waiting for me to come to the hair cutter.
Yeah.
So the guy looked at him and didn't say nothing. He said, I know you were there. So the guy says, come on. He goes, I was there. He goes, I know you were there. He goes, I'm going to tell you something else. The kid Eric told me you were there. Eric was the kid who was the lookout, who was with Teddy Persico Sr., who was supposed to say, yeah, Billy's going in. Once Billy would have went in, the guy would have just walked in, boom, 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 and that would have been the end of that.
Yeah.
And Billy said, I'm glad it was you if it had to be anybody, because I know you would have made me have an open coffin, meaning he said you wouldn't blow off my head or anything. The guy says, right. And the guy says, turned around, told Billy the same thing. He says, if the day comes where you have to take me out, I would expect the same thing from you. He says, of course. He goes, it's business, not personal. It was strictly business. P.S. They went back down to 3rd Avenue, and Teddy Persico was there, and everybody blew a fit. This fucking kid, he turned around. This is what Billy told me, and all this. He said it came from Eric. No, me. Yeah, it was from fucking Eric. P.S. They go to kill Joey Scopo. Now, peace was made, and it was either Joey Scopo's, like I told you before, he was either his brother-in-law or his son-in-law gave him up when he would be home. Now, the hit goes off, okay? Joey Scopo gets killed, everything. I'm in my house about 11:30, 12 o'clock. My phone rings. I pick it up. It's the kid Eric. I said, yeah, what? He goes, go tell your cousin we just paid Joey Scopo a visit. I said, who the fuck is this? Who the fuck are you? What are you talking about? And I hung up the fucking phone. I called my cousin. I didn't even call my cousin. I got in the car and I went to my cousin's house. I got there about 12:15, banging on his fucking door. He comes out with a fucking cannon in his hand. He goes, what the fuck you do? What's the matter? I says, come on, we got to talk. He said, what? I said, fucking Eric calls me up, tells me on the phone, he says, tell your cousin we just paid Joey Scopo a visit and that they did him. My cousin looks, he goes, what? I said, I'm telling you, just fuck, wait till I'm up here. It's fucking almost 12:30 at night. What the fuck you think I'm here for? He says, okay. Meanwhile, Eric didn't kill him. Like I told you, there was another guy that was there that they booked. They knew that this fucking Mad Hatter group couldn't fucking hit the side of a fucking barn. They hit everything else except the fucking guy. And they supposedly had machine guns too.
Yeah.
P.S. There was a sit down. Uncle Teddy Persico, because I used to call him Uncle Teddy, didn't want to know nothing. Eric ain't gonna be touched. Eric's lying. Anthony's lying. This one's lying. So why would I lie that the guy called me up and told me this at night? I'm gonna go to my cousin's house. I went to go after the kid Eric. He fucking jumped. I said, you better tell the fucking truth. I said, I'll catch you. I said, I'll put a fucking bullet in your fucking head. P.S. Everything got squashed. They says, don't touch him. I'm busting over here. He had a collision shop on Hamilton Avenue, this kid. What happened? A guy walked in. The kid's in jail. Now, the kid might be out of jail now. Guy walked in. They got into an argument. The kid killed him. 9 shots into him.
He killed Eric?
Yeah, killed Eric. I says, good. He was a fucking rat. He was playing both sides against the middle.
Yeah.
Was either you're with us or you're with that side. You can't be with fucking both. So you're telling this guy, hey, because everybody who was in the car that day waiting for Billy was lucky because nobody knew that Eric tipped him off, because they could have had another car just roll up on everybody in the car and just blast it away. And everybody in the car would have been dead. That's just good. They killed this cocksucker. Fuck him. He deserved to fucking die. You don't do that. You're either one side or the other side. You can't be on both sides.
So does Bill get killed after that hit goes down?
No, Billy, from what I heard or from what the newspapers were saying, Billy got killed, I think, I don't know if it was the mid to late 90s or something. I really don't remember.
Yeah, you weren't around. You weren't around then?
I was around, but I wasn't. This was years later after peace was made.
Yeah.
That Billy disappeared. And I said, I liked Billy. I tell you the truth. I really did. I think he was a great guy. And he would have made a fantastic fucking boss.
Yeah.
He would definitely made a fantastic boss, Billy.
Yeah, his son's a good guy. I got him on Instagram. I talk to him every once in a while.
Yeah, I spoke to him a couple of times on the internet, but I never met the kid in person. Kid's a good kid, and I tell you the truth, I couldn't say nothing bad about him, because if it was my father that they did that to, I'd probably wear a wire on them also, or I'd kill him, because they were sneaky. In other words, the Colombo family had a lot of nepotism. A lot of fucking nepotism. Like, I'll give you, there was a story. There was a guy, Jimmy Angelina.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Angelina was running the family while Carmine Persico was in prison and Alley Boy Persico went to prison. And he was doing a great job. We all used to meet in a place on 86th Street. It was a pet shop. I think it was, I don't remember if it was called Stop 86, but you know who had it? Sally Michiotta had it. He became an informant. Sally Michiotta had it. We used to meet up there. So one day, our cousin, Fat Andy, who was a cousin of Carmine Persico's, he tells Jimmy A, he said, this is what started off the war, I want you to know. He tells Jimmy A, he says, you know, when the kid Ali comes home, says, you got to turn over the rackets to him. I says, of course. He goes, I'm handling all his rackets now. Of course he gets it all back. And I send the money. So he turned around and told him, he said, no, you got to hand him your rackets too. What are you talking about? He goes, you got to turn over all your rackets to him. He goes, and you got to start all over again. He says, no. He goes, I turn all my rackets over because I give him all back his rackets and he's got the money. And I always kick in and end because he's the boss. I ain't giving all my rackets in. Well, Fat Andy, from what I was told, went back and sent a message to Carmine that, okay, now here's the message I heard, that I spoke with Jimmy Angelina, Jimmy A, we used to call him, and he said he's not giving nothing to your son, and if anything happens, he's going to kill your son. Now, you're talking about this is supposedly your trusted cousin telling you this, and you talk about your son. So what happens? They order a hit. They order a hit on Jimmy A. Now, here's the story that I had gotten. Now, Jimmy A is going around, and the hit, and supposedly they said ASAP, as soon as possible, whack him.
Yeah.
4 months go by. Fucking Jimmy A still walking around. All right. All of a sudden, one day, Jimmy A disappears. Jimmy A's not around no more. The way the story went was that Wild Bill, took Jimmy A out and got rid of him. Okay? Now, Wild Bill, or Billy Catullo, he came up in rank. He's captain. Now he's an underboss and he's running things. Okay, fine. Now, Uncle Teddy hooked up with Carmine Sessa, who informed on all of them, because he was banging Carmine Sessa's sister or cousin. He brings Carmine Sessa around. He's pushing to make Carmine Sessa higher and higher in the family. And he turns around and they tell Billy, Uncle Teddy goes to his brother and he's pissing in his ear. And then he gets Billy to have a meeting and he turns around and tells Billy, you're being busted down and Carmine Sessa is taking your spot. You're being busted down to a button. What are you fucking kidding me? So what are you talking about? He says, well, because you did Jimmy A. What are you talking about? He says, well, you did the right thing and they did the wrong thing. He says, you got rid of Jimmy A, you killed him, but we didn't give you the order. So Billy, from what I was told, turned around and says, wait a minute. Your brother ordered it 4 months ago and said, as soon as possible. None of you fucking moved and did a thing. That's why I took him out. I didn't need nobody's permission. They busted Billy down. They put Carmine Sessa in. That's what started the Colombo War in the 90s. That's what started the war.
Yeah.
And a lot of good guys died from that. It all started because why? Like I said, nepotism, and they're fucking jealous in that family. And that's what started the whole war. But,
yeah, and then the two factions split and they just started fighting with each other, right?
Yeah. There was Carmine's faction, and then there was what's his name's Joe Waverly's people and Billy's people, where all of a sudden how Joey Scopo got brought in there as being the fucking boss is beyond me.
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea how he came in, how he got in to become the boss. Because it was Joe Waverly and Billy, and all of a sudden now Joey Scopo was becoming the fucking boss.
Yeah.
So I can't understand how that happened. And they were still around. They weren't in jail. And then, like I said, after the peace was made, I think it had to be in the 90s, I think, when Billy got whacked. I really don't remember. I got to tell you the truth. I mean, so it was in the 90s, somewhere around there, maybe even a little later than that.
Yeah.
But the story is that he went to a meeting and his own people did what, Junior and them or whoever was there, and they clipped him, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
Which my opinion, shouldn't have been done like that. It shouldn't have been done. Billy was the type of guy, if he gave you his word on something, he stuck by his word. If he said there's peace, there was peace. If he says, you're my boss, I'm not making a move against you, you can rest assured, you could take it to your grave. He would not go against it and break the peace.
Yeah.
But again, you get certain cousins that were pissing in Carmine's ear and filling his head with all these lies, and he took them at face value because they're his cousins and they were all made guys, and this is what happened.
Well, he's in jail, and they're probably saying that they're trying to take his money. They're moving in on his rackets.
Yeah,
so,
but Carmine Sessa, who they brought around, wound up ratting on everybody.
Yeah, he
and
wound
they made
up.
Him a consigliere, and he wound up ratting on everybody when he got arrested. Because what happened,